What if I told you this video has not found you by accident? What if your life is already moving toward a turning point, and the next 7 days could hold the key to that transformation? You might feel it already, a strange pull, a whisper that says something is about to change. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear could be the spark that shifts your entire reality. In the next few minutes, I will share with you the vision of a man who dedicated his life to understanding the hidden patterns of the mind and the universe. Jacobo Grinberg, a man of science, yet also a man unafraid to explore the mysteries that science often ignores. He was not only a neurophysiologist, but also a seeker of truth, a bridge between modern knowledge and ancient wisdom. His ideas are not just theories, they are tools, and when applied, they can ignite a change so profound that within days your perception of reality may never be the same again. So why should you keep watching? Because what Grinberg discovered goes far beyond positive thinking or ordinary self-help advice. He uncovered something he called the Lattice, a web of consciousness that connects everything. He believed your mind doesn't just sit inside your head. Instead, it extends into this field, shaping and bending reality itself. This means that every thought you repeat, every image you hold, every emotion you feel, doesn't stay locked inside. It ripples outward, meeting this lattice, rearranging it, and eventually reshaping the reality that appears in front of you. Imagine this. 7 days from now, you wake up and realize that the coincidences lining up in your life are no coincidence at all. They're the reflection of the thoughts you decided to hold, the intentions you dared to declare, and the energy you poured into them. Jacobo Grinberg's research showed that this is not fantasy, but a natural law of the mind. And the best part? You don't need complicated rituals, expensive courses, or endless waiting. All you need is focus, belief, and a small amount of time. Most people have never even heard of Jacobo Grinberg, and those who have often know him only for the mystery of his disappearance in 1994. He vanished without a trace, leaving behind no answers, only his books, his studies, and the unsettling silence of unanswered questions. Was he silenced because he was getting too close to truths the world wasn't ready for? Or did his own explorations take him beyond the boundaries of what we call reality? We may never know, but what we do know is that his teachings remain, waiting for those who are ready to discover them. And here's the hidden piece most videos won't tell you. Grinberg worked closely with indigenous shamans in Mexico. He combined their ancient knowledge with brain studies, experiments, and fieldwork. He found that states of expanded awareness, moments when time feels different, when synchronicities multiply, could be measured in the brain. These weren't just mystical experiences. They were patterns, real and repeatable. That means transformation is not just mystical. It is scientific, measurable, and available to anyone who dares to try, including you. Stay with me until the end, because in this video, I'll show you how to apply these ideas in your own life. You'll learn why the next 7 days matter, how to align yourself with the lattice of consciousness, and how to recognize the first subtle signs that your transformation is already beginning. These are not surface-level tips. These are the deeper, lesser-known insights that most people overlook. Insights that may explain why some people seem to get lucky again and again, while others remain stuck in the same cycles. So as you listen, don't just hear my words. Imagine them as keys that unlock doors within your own mind. Keys that remind you that your reality is not fixed. It is fluid, waiting to be shaped. By the end of this video, you will understand why it has found you now at this precise moment, just before your turning point. Welcome to Awaken Synchronicity. If you are new here, consider subscribing. This channel is where science, spirituality, and hidden wisdom meet. Together we explore teachings that have the power to awaken your consciousness and reshape your destiny. So hit the subscribe button, like this video, and stay with us, because your 7 days begin now. Before we talk about the transformation that may be waiting for you, It's important to know about the man behind these ideas, Jacobo Grinberg. He wasn't just another spiritual teacher or motivational speaker. He was a scientist, born in Mexico City in 1946, who decided very early in his life that the mysteries of the mind were worth exploring. His journey began in the field of neurophysiology, where he studied the brain, perception, and how consciousness works. But unlike many scientists who stayed inside the boundaries of laboratories and textbooks, Jacobo stepped beyond them. He was convinced that human consciousness was far greater than what science traditionally allowed us to see. Grinberg combined two worlds, rigorous academic research and the deep, ancient traditions of shamanism. He traveled through Mexico, meeting and studying with indigenous healers, observing their methods and documenting their practices. These weren't casual visits. He immersed himself in their way of seeing reality, comparing their experiences with what he knew from neuroscience. To him, shamans weren't simply practicing rituals, they were accessing expanded states of consciousness that could be measured, studied, and perhaps even taught. His work gained attention because it dared to suggest something radical, that the human mind could directly interact with reality, bending it, shaping it, even healing through it. He spoke of the lattice, an invisible field of information and energy that connects all things. According to him, our consciousness is not trapped inside our skulls. It extends outward, touching this field, and in turn influencing what we call reality. But Jacobo Grinberg's story is not only about his research, it is also about a mystery that has never been solved. In December of 1994, at the height of his work, he disappeared. One day he was there, preparing for his next lecture, his next book, his next discovery, and then he was gone. No trace, no explanation. Family, students, and colleagues searched, but nothing concrete was ever found. Some believe foul play was involved. Others whisper that he crossed into the very dimension he studied, leaving this reality altogether. What remains are his writings, his lectures, and the stories of those who worked with him. His ideas survived, scattered in books and notes carried forward by people who saw the value in what he left behind. Today, his theories are reaching new audiences around the world, sparking curiosity, awakening belief, and reminding us that consciousness is still one of the greatest frontiers we have yet to fully understand. At the heart of Jacobo Grinberg's work lies a powerful idea, one that challenges everything we think we know about the world around us. He believed that consciousness does not simply watch reality. It does not sit back passive, recording whatever comes through the senses. Instead, consciousness actively creates what we experience. According to him, the universe is not a fixed stage where events play out. It is a dynamic field, constantly shifting, constantly reshaped by the intentions, thoughts, and emotions that arise within us. This is not just philosophy. For Grinberg, this was a scientific truth, one that he tried to measure and describe. He called the invisible structure of reality the lattice. To him, this lattice was like a vast web of information, connecting everything in existence. When you think, when you feel, when you imagine, those signals don't stay trapped in your brain. They extend outward into the lattice, and the lattice responds. It arranges itself in ways that eventually manifest as events, opportunities, and synchronicities in your everyday life. In other words, reality bends to meet the shape of your inner world. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever noticed how when you hold a strong intention, the right people suddenly appear, the right doors open, and coincidences begin to cluster? Most dismiss this as chance, but Grinberg suggested it is not random. It is a law. Consciousness shapes reality, and reality mirrors back the state of consciousness. This connects directly to what many teachers across time have said, from ancient mystics to modern visionaries. Repetition, intention, and emotional energy are the keys. If you repeat a thought long enough, with the right feeling behind it, the lattice begins to shift. Neville Goddard, a mystic often quoted in recent years, taught that the imagination, when fueled with assumption, creates facts in the world. Grinberg's science points to the same truth. It is not enough to casually wish. You must hold the thought, repeat it until it sinks deep into your being, and believe it with emotional force. That is when the lattice responds. Now, here is where the idea of a 7-day shift enters the picture. Many spiritual traditions speak of cycles, 7 days of creation in ancient texts, 7 chakras in Eastern philosophy, 7 notes in music, 7 colors in the spectrum of light. The number 7 represents a complete cycle, a transformation that moves from beginning to end. When you commit yourself to a practice for 7 days, you enter this symbolic and energetic rhythm. It is like striking a chord that resonates through your entire being. Grinberg's ideas suggest that when you dedicate 7 days to focused consciousness, to repeating a clear intention with emotion, you begin to reprogram the field around you. In the first few days, the intention starts to settle into your subconscious mind. By the middle of the week, the lattice begins to reflect this new pattern. And by the 7th day, a release occurs, a letting go that allows reality to catch up with the changes you've made inside. The mechanism is simple, but its power lies in consistency. You pick a phrase or affirmation that represents the reality you want to create. It could be as straightforward as "I am healthy," "I am loved," or "abundance flows to me." The phrase must be personal, clear, and filled with the energy of what you truly desire. Once you have your phrase, you repeat it, not mechanically, not as empty words, but with feeling. You close your eyes, imagine it as real, feel the emotions as if it is already here. You repeat it again and again, until your mind accepts it as truth. Neville Goddard called this assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Jacobo Grinberg's research supports this by showing how the brain and consciousness respond to repetition and emotion. When you assume a new state, when you repeat it enough, you no longer just wish, you embody, and once you embody, the lattice reflects it back as your external reality. Let us break down how you can do this over 7 nights, step by step. On nights 1 to 3, your task is to build the foundation. Find a quiet place, free from distractions. Sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your body to relax. Then bring your phrase to mind. Whisper it softly or repeat it silently. With each repetition, imagine it more vividly. See it, feel it, believe it, even if only for a few seconds at a time. These first 3 nights are about planting the seed. On nights 4 to 6, you begin to deepen the practice. By now, the phrase should feel familiar, almost natural. This is when you intensify the emotional connection. Instead of just saying the words, imagine the scene in detail. If your phrase is about health, picture yourself full of energy, smiling, moving with strength. If it is about love, feel the warmth of connection, the joy of being seen. If it is about abundance, imagine opportunities arriving, your hands receiving. The deeper you feel it, the stronger the signal you send into the lattice. These nights are about watering the seed, giving it life. On night 7, you release. This is not about repeating endlessly or forcing the vision. This is about surrender. You go through the practice one last time with full belief, and then you let it go. You trust that the lattice has received your signal. You trust that reality is already bending to reflect it back to you. This final night is the harvest, not because everything changes instantly, but because your inner shift is complete. You have aligned yourself, and now reality begins to align with you. What should you expect during these 7 days? The changes may not always be loud or dramatic at first. Often they appear as whispers, as subtle signs that you are on the right path. You may notice a sudden idea arriving in your mind, a burst of intuition that feels undeniable. You may dream vividly, with images that seem to guide you. You may see small synchronicities, repeating numbers, chance encounters, opportunities that appear almost too perfectly timed. These are the signals that the lattice is responding. Internally, you may also feel shifts. Old fears may begin to loosen their grip. A sense of clarity may rise, giving you direction where there was confusion. You may feel lighter, more motivated, as though something inside you has been unlocked. Sometimes resistance will show up too. Doubts, impatience, the inner voice that says nothing is happening. But even this is part of the process. It is the old pattern struggling against the new one. If you persist, the old gives way, and the new begins to take root. This 7-day cycle is not magic in the sense of fantasy. It is magic in the sense of transformation, the blending of focus, belief, and energy into a force that reshapes what you experience. Jacobo Grinberg dedicated his life to showing that consciousness is not just a private theater inside your head. It is a creative force reaching into the lattice of reality, arranging events and weaving synchronicities. And when you choose to guide it with intention, repetition, and emotion, you discover just how powerful you truly are. So imagine the next 7 days as a journey. Each night, you are not just repeating words. You are reshaping the very fabric of your life. You are training your consciousness to hold a new pattern. And as that pattern strengthens, reality itself begins to reflect it back. This is the core of Grinberg's teaching, the essence of the 7-day shift, a reminder that your mind is not just observing, it is creating. The path of transformation, as simple as it may sound, is never without its obstacles. When you begin a practice like this, doubts rise almost immediately. A voice inside whispers, "This can't work." That voice is not your enemy. It is the conditioning of a lifetime. It is the inner critic, the skeptical part of the mind that demands proof before belief. You may also feel resistance, a strange heaviness that tries to stop you from repeating your phrase or visualizing your desire. And then comes impatience, the restless need to see results right away. These obstacles are natural. They are the shadows that appear whenever light is near. Jacobo Grinberg understood that transformation is not about eliminating resistance, but moving through it. Faith becomes your compass here. Faith does not mean blind belief. It means choosing to trust the process long enough to let it unfold. Persistence carries you when doubt feels heavy. Even if the words feel empty one night, you repeat them anyway. You show up, again and again, until the repetition itself becomes stronger than the doubt. And perhaps the hardest part of all, letting go of control. This is where many struggle. We want to dictate the exact outcome, the exact timing. But the lattice responds not to force, but to openness. When you release the need to control every detail, you make space for reality to rearrange itself in ways greater than your imagination. What makes this method unique is not just the practice of affirmations. Many teachers have spoken of affirmations, repetition, and belief. But Jacobo Grinberg approached it differently. He brought together two worlds, ancient wisdom and scientific exploration. From shamans, he learned about states of expanded awareness, moments where reality bends and healing occurs. From neuroscience, he studied how the brain shifts when the mind enters these states. His method is not about repeating words mindlessly. It is about aligning your consciousness with the lattice, about entering a state where repetition carries emotional charge, where timing matters, and where you are not forcing reality but opening to it. Most content tells you, say your affirmation, think positive, and wait. But this process dives deeper. It gives structure, 7 days, a rhythm that echoes cycles found in nature and consciousness. It emphasizes timing, planting, deepening, releasing, and it connects the practice to a larger field of consciousness, the lattice, rather than limiting it to the brain alone. This union of the mystical and the scientific makes the method stand apart. It is not simply self-help. It is a framework for engaging with the very structure of reality. To understand how this works in practice, imagine a story. Let's say there is someone named Daniel, though it could be anyone. Daniel feels stuck in his career, weighed down by self-doubt. He decides to try this 7-day practice. His affirmation is simple. I am worthy of opportunities that align with my purpose. On the first night, it feels strange, almost false. His inner critic laughs, saying, "You're just wasting time." But Daniel repeats it anyway, eyes closed, imagining what it would feel like to live with confidence. By the third night, something shifts. The words no longer feel foreign. They begin to feel like a possibility. On the fifth night, he dreams of walking into a room full of people who welcome him with respect. He wakes up with a quiet certainty. The next day, an old colleague reaches out unexpectedly, offering to connect him with someone in his field. By the seventh night, Daniel feels lighter, his fear less suffocating. Within weeks, he is invited to interview for a role that excites him, an opportunity he would not even have noticed before. Is this magic? Some would call it coincidence, but to Grinberg it is the lattice responding. The repeated thought, charged with emotion, reorganized the field around Daniel until it reflected his inner shift. The story is not about instant miracles. It is about alignment, about how subtle internal changes ripple outward until they become visible in daily life. Another example can be seen in relationships. A woman, let's call her Sophia, longs for love, but carries the belief that she is unworthy of being chosen. Her affirmation becomes, "I am deeply loved and valued." At first, she feels resistance. Her past whispers, "No one has ever stayed. Why would anyone now?" But she continues. By the fourth night, tears rise as she repeats the words. She feels years of pain surface, and for the first time, she allows herself to imagine a different ending. By the seventh night, she is not suddenly married, but she carries herself differently. She smiles more, she engages with warmth, and people notice. Soon, she begins attracting attention from those who resonate with her new energy. The field shifted because her consciousness shifted. After the 7 days, what happens next? For some, transformation is immediate. Opportunities appear quickly, synchronicities multiply, and the change is undeniable. For others, the shift is slower, unfolding in subtle layers. The 7 days are not the finish line, but the beginning. The field has been touched. The seed has been planted. Now comes integration. Integration means continuing the practice in daily life. You may choose a new affirmation, one that builds upon the first, or you may keep the same phrase, letting it grow deeper until it becomes part of your identity. Journaling can help here, recording dreams, synchronicities, and small shifts. Writing them down strengthens your awareness of the changes, reminding you that the lattice is responding. Daily practice could be as simple as 5 minutes each night, repeating your phrase with focus or visualizing your desired state during quiet moments. The key is maintaining the new belief. Old patterns may try to return, whispering doubts, but with practice the new belief becomes stronger. It becomes the default state of your consciousness. And as it does, reality has no choice but to mirror it. At this stage, you may also discover that your desires evolve. What you thought you wanted at the beginning may shift into something deeper, more aligned. That is the beauty of letting go of control. The lattice brings not only what you demand, but what you are truly ready for. Sometimes the result is even greater than what you imagined. So what should you do now? The invitation is simple. Try it. Dedicate 7 nights to this practice. Choose your phrase carefully, repeat it with emotion, and allow yourself to believe. Notice the signs, write them down, and trust the process. Don't just watch passively, engage, experiment, and see what unfolds. If you feel resistance, keep going. If you feel doubt, lean on persistence. If impatience rises, remind yourself to let go. And then share your experience. Tell others what you noticed, no matter how small. Sometimes a dream, a feeling of lightness, or a sudden coincidence is enough to confirm the shift has begun. Sharing your journey not only reinforces your own belief, but inspires others to begin theirs. Each story becomes part of the field, a ripple that reaches beyond you. This is how transformation spreads, not by force, but by resonance. One mind shifting, then another, until the lattice itself carries the vibration of change. Jacobo Grinberg's vision was not only for individuals, but for humanity. He believed that when enough minds awakened to their creative power, reality itself could evolve into something greater. And it all begins with a single step, one phrase, 1 week, one act of faith, repeated until it becomes truth. As we come to the close of this journey, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on what you've just heard. From Jacobo Grinberg's groundbreaking ideas about consciousness and the lattice, to the 7-day process that can reshape the way reality unfolds around you, one truth rises above all. Transformation is not far away. It isn't something reserved for the lucky few, or the enlightened masters, or the people who seem to have everything figured out. Transformation is within your reach, and sometimes it can begin in as little as 7 days. Think about that. 7 days, just 1 week of your life. In the span of 7 sunsets and 7 sunrises, you could plant a seed so powerful that it begins to alter the field of reality itself. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. It is the practical application of one of the deepest truths that thinkers like Jacobo Grinberg dedicated their lives to uncovering. Your mind does not only observe the world, it shapes it. Every thought, every emotion, every repeated image you hold in your heart has the potential to bend the lattice of reality. And when you understand this, you realize that you are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not simply a passenger in your own life. You are, and always have been, a creator. The promise of this video is simple, yet profound. If you give yourself to this process for 7 days, if you choose a phrase, repeat it with emotion, and allow yourself to believe, then you set something in motion. You begin to align your consciousness with the field that connects everything. You may notice small signs at first, a dream, a coincidence, a sudden idea, or you may notice something larger, a shift in opportunity, a door opening where there was none before. But whether the change is subtle or dramatic, the truth remains. The process works because it works through you. And here's what I want you to remember most of all. The power has always been inside you. Jacobo Grinberg did not create it, nor did he claim to own it. He simply revealed it, pointed to it, and left us with the tools to use it. The 7-day practice is one way of accessing that power, but the real transformation begins when you recognize that your consciousness is far greater than you imagined. So let this be your reminder, your invitation, and your challenge. Don't just watch this video and move on to the next distraction. Take action. Begin tonight. Choose your phrase. Sit in silence. Repeat it until you feel it. Repeat it until you believe it. Repeat it until your mind accepts it as truth. And then trust. Trust that reality will reflect what you have planted. Trust that in just 7 days, something within you and around you can shift in ways you may not even expect. If you found value in this video, if you feel even the slightest spark of possibility stirring within you, then I ask you to support this journey we are building together, like this video, so more people can discover it. Subscribe to Awaken Synchronicity so you never miss the teachings, the insights, and the practices that can guide you on your path. And if you feel called, share this video with someone who needs to hear that their life too can change. Remember, transformation is not distant. It is not years away. Sometimes it is just 7 days away, and those 7 days can begin right now. Your life, your reality, your destiny, all of it can shift when you decide to step into your true creative power. So the choice is yours. Will you let this be just another video, or will you let this be the beginning of your 7-day journey toward transformation? The lattice is waiting. Your consciousness is ready. All that's left is for you to take the first step. Like, subscribe, and join us here at Awaken Synchronicity. Together, we will continue exploring the mysteries of the mind, the universe, and the hidden truths that can change your life. Your time is now. Your 7 days begin today.